My dad personified the most ardent qualities as a good person, a nice human, a love and respect through his principles, through his integrity, and through his ethics, which is the core of the values and beliefs that is laid down in the scriptures. Baba, I am the man today because of these tenets that you bestowed on us and ordained us since we were children. My dad is an amalgamation of stubbornness, graciousness, etiquette, reticence, with pure heart, but his indomitable will till the end to live on his own terms. He is the true alchemy of a good person. With such forbidding character and ethos. He is that. He is defined by that. I am not going to stand here and eulogize him, because doing so is bidding goodbye to him, which my mind and heart doesn't want me to. Instead, I'll take a slice of my life and tell me some facts that he has impacted me, which I carry with me to this day. My dad never thought or talked about causing harm to anyone in his life, except a few times when he abused me as a child, both verbally and with his hands. And I richly deserve that. And when I was growing up, I had this feeling about this dad. Why is he doing this to us? He used to wake us up at 4 a.m. in the morning for many, many years, take a cold bath, then bury our faces in the books. And his whole notion was that what we read in 1 hour in the morning time, it will take us 3 hours in the evening. And for a long time I did not understand that. It is only after many years I got to know those are the things that he laid down with us. Even today, all the siblings, we wake up early morning, which is what our father infused in us. But I would say, if he was today, if I was still a kid with him, don't wake us up at 4 a.m., wake us up at 5 a.m. But that's him. My dad started his career as an educator. He has exemplified a lot of laurels in that area, moved on to business, a builder. But, as an educator, that's where he patented something that he brought home called benchmark. So he got home that patent as a benchmark. Benchmark is essentially, basically you set one person or one thing up and everyone follows through. And in our household, the eldest one get to be the guinea pig. And we had to follow that incredible pressure that we had. And there comes a time, see, sometimes the pressure cooker has to go off. And that happened during the 10th exam, board exam. You write the exam, but the real exam was coming back home. When he used to question us with queries and stuff. Okay, the exams are over, 2 months, we're waiting for the results. My dad happened to go to a friend's place. His son also has given the same exam. And apparently he has done wonderfully well. He comes back home, chastises my brother. You have not done well, you have not answered me very well. And then the results came. And he stood stage second. And I don't want to tell about the other person. That's when the pressure came off. Not for you, brother, but for us. But you could have faltered a little bit in what you did, so that we don't have to struggle that much. But that was him. Of course, it continued right through our young adult years, because we were very scared of our father. And it continued like that. However, and there are many incidents like this. It will take days and weeks for me to tell you. I'll just take a few more minutes from this, just narrate the person, because it impacted me. We were going on a North India tour from school. 30 days, we were gone, me and my brother. And my dad told me, this was in the 70s, there were no proper telephones and stuff. And my father told us, write letters. So halfway through, we land in Delhi, sub-zero temperatures. At 3 a.m. in the morning, sitting on a railway platform, we were writing a letter to my father. Of course, my brother was writing. Probably I provided the context. And then we finished our tour, 30 days. We come back home happy. Okay, we have met the president, we have met the prime minister, visited Rashtrapati Bhavan, excited to tell our dad. He was waiting there at the door. I'm not even exaggerating this. Waiting there at the door as soon as we entered. This is what I send you, give you good education? Is this what you are all these years that I've sent you, what you have learned? We have no idea what he was talking about. He whipped up this letter, lot of red marks on this, and he says, where is my dear father? And lot of grammatical corrections. And you know why that incident boggled me? To this day, when I send somebody a personal thing, I think from their point of view. And that is what, at that time we never did understand. We were pissed off for months. Of course, my mom is always there to calm us down and stuff. She is the good cop. My dad has always been the bad cop. So that's what has happened. I mean, there's so many things like this. I don't want to take too much of your time. And my dad always looked at the glass being half full. That's what he is. In school, you get 90, why did you not get 95? You get 99, why did you not get 100? When I first got my job, then after some time I called him and said, Baba, I got a promotion. You know what the next thing he says? When will you get your next promotion? And then, now whenever I come here, I have a routine. My dad, of course, he wakes up early, he bathes himself, dresses in this white kurta pajama, well ironed every day, and he sits there, have his coffee by 7:30. He's sitting in the living room. I come from upstairs down, have tea with him, and then I go down to the gym, 9 o'clock sharp. Then generally it's a 1 hour routine. And then when I come back, some days I cut short 5 or 10 minutes. He looks at his watch, he looks at the clock. He looks at his watch, he looks at the clock. That is the way my dad used to communicate. Basically, he's saying that you came today 5 minutes, 10 minutes early. Not, how was your workout? So that's what he is, glass half full. But he meant good, because you take, people don't change. And my dad was like that. My daughter, his great-granddaughter, spent 7 months last year. And she used to secretly record some of these videos and send it to me. And I learned about my dad a lot more during that time. And he used to chastise her, he used to protect her like he protects all his grandchildren. Because my dad always has to be in control, no matter what. There was one video, I think, in the thing where she, by accident, she got his blanket from the room because she was too lazy to go up and get it. And he was chastising her, very angry. Why did you get my blanket? And she's telling him sorry. Still, his face you can look very angry. Teju was mentioning about his things and so on. And I'll end it. Srish, the last time he came to US was his granddaughter's marriage, my daughter's marriage. He was 90, just turned 90 years. He had a little bit of a back problem, but he was so adamant and stubborn that he wanted to come. He came along with a whole bunch of family members. I was there to receive him at the airport. I was all prepared. My dad would be completely tired, completely very irritable and so on. I go there, he comes out fresh like a cucumber, dressed neatly in his safari. Who comes out of a safari from a plane ride? And the rest of the family was tired. I'm not even kidding, this is a 90-year-old man. Apparently he has a few drinks in the lounge and so on and so forth. And he enjoyed that. We went to New York City, he enjoyed the restaurants and stuff. That was one of his last outings. And, well, I could just go on, but I'll end it here. I'll miss my dad. I miss going down every day in the morning. I will miss him having lunch with him. I will miss him in spirit when I speak to him from there. I miss him in every sense. Because, as I said, I am the man today because of his tenets, what he believed in. My mom was the one who provided the love and everything else. And today I know that both of them, we all say that they are in spirit, the memories will be there. The physical presence is not there. And that's what matters. They are gone. And Baba, Amma, I hope one day in some life I can be of some service to both of you in some way. Thank you.
Thank you, Veeru-Anu. You were the most affectionate sibling a son has shown love and care, and he has taken care of my father no less than a baby. I now request my older brother. Before that, I would like to say, my father, when he cut the cord for our siblings and me, he pushed us. We learned to think. He gave us focus, not distraction. He gave us wisdom and not dogma. He gave us caution and not fear. He let us dream, but He never let us falter. He let us fly. Here we are, big and strong. But we'll be missing you dearly. We look for you, me and my siblings, we look for you in the space, between the sparkling stars, in the blue skies, among the floating clouds, in the garden, under the shady trees, digging deep, looking for the roots to undo the done. I now request my older brother, Dr. Guru, not only as a medical profession, in spite of being occupied 24/7. Anna, I bow my head down with folded hands. Me and my siblings, the way you've taken care of Baba, you have set an example a son has taken care, should take care of the father. I now request him to give his tribute, and this is the last tribute of the day.
Thank you, Anu. Good afternoon. On behalf of the family, at the outset, I would like to thank every one of you for being here this afternoon and join us for this memorial. We had many calls, umpteen messages, texts, flowers, meals, prayers, and thoughts this past few weeks from friends and family. This has touched us immensely, the entire family, not only from the standpoint of comforting us during these difficult times, but making us remember that what a great person was our father, those of them who remembered him and those of them who interacted with him, made us remember that he was one of those wonderful persons who has touched the hearts and lives of many people in the 93 years that he has lived on Mother Earth. We all know, ladies and gentlemen, that death is inevitable for all of us at the end of the day. We're going to walk down the path of death. But the beauty of life should be, we should die as young as we can, both in our spirit, in our thinking, in our physical prowess, and many of those things, and our spiritual strengths. And such was my father. As Veeru has just mentioned, my other brother, at age 90, in spite of his severe back pain, knee pains, arthritis, and all of those things that he had, otherwise he was a healthy man, he wanted to travel 18 hours on a flight to attend his granddaughter's wedding. He has not missed any of the grandchildren's wedding, and that was the third or fourth trip for the wedding to the United States. He has attended 3 or 4 other weddings before. And I, as a doctor, cautioned him that he should not be doing it, because I was worried about it. He has extensive degenerative disease of the spine, and he has a previous laminectomy and injections and all of those things. We didn't want to have him a slip disc and then have some other problem. But as my other siblings pointed out, when dad gets dogmatic, when he wants his way, and he has his way, he's a winner. So we cannot prevent him from doing that. So that's where I said, we should all live for long, live healthy. And when I meant we have to die young, yes, we should die young. And my father was a great example. It is very hard to lose somebody that you love in life, and particularly a parent. It's not about paying a tribute or offering condolences, but it's about developing the knowledge to live without that person now for the rest of your life. It is your empty soul It is your heart that constantly beckons their loss. It's a struggle that we would have to fill this void for many years to come. But then we resurrect ourselves. Even though they pass, or years passed, I think their soul lurks in our soul, and that spirit stays with us to continue to move on in our lives, which I believe is the best tribute that we can pay to someone. Many of you all described my father so kindly. I would use one word this afternoon. He was truly a noble soul. We all understand the nobility is something we attribute to those who are born in rich families or aristocracy or royalty. But thanks to the great philosophers and thinkers back in the 20th century, nobility has been attributed to the common men and women in this world. You become noble by the virtue of your character that you reflect at the end of the day. Your nobility is in your principles, in your deeds, in your courage, in your determination, in what you extend to others without expecting anything. Your unselfish being. And that is what characterizes any one of us here this afternoon to be noble. These are noble virtues. And he was truly noble to us. My mother was equally noble, as today we are talking and celebrating, the death of my father in his great memories, that I would say that to me, he was truly a noble soul. Just like my brother, I had many runs in terms of acceptance and non-acceptance, but he put tremendous pressure on me as an older kid in the family. He sent us to the best private school in the city then, Little Flower, and he always expected that I should get nothing less than a first rank. And that pressure truly has eaten me up while I was growing as a kid. It was tremendous pressure. He used to always say that if you do well, the other siblings will follow you at the end of the day. So that pressure, to some extent, when you're young as a teenager, you tend to detest your parents. You call them, it's too much. And his expectations were too high. But fortunately it happened so, whether it's your DNA that is there within you, or the inspiration of your parents, or the shadow of them at the end of the day, it becomes a part of your life. After a certain time, you're on the track. You yourself get sensitized that nothing else would satisfy you. And there was my journey, from then onwards. And the most interesting thing, I still remember a couple of examples here. I was a debater throughout my school, college, and medical school. And it has become so synonymous that my participation was equivalent to him that I should bring a prize. He never asked me when I went to Himachal Pradesh, Delhi, Ames, all these places were debated across the country. His first question was, what prize did you win? He didn't even talk about what was the subject, what was your trip, and what was things, to the point that a fear was set in me. Can I come home empty-handed? What should I do? I was in tremendous pressure. And some of these debating places, you had extempore topic. They just give you about 30 minutes before. And one of them was pigs have wings. And I had to debate on that, something like that. And just imagine I had to bring a prize. But all of those things in the teenage years, to some extent, we used to call him Tiger. We never sat in front of him. We never had the guts. And so we said, listen, this is not the way to raise a kid. But it's only after some time, when the fruits of such forbearance, such involvement, such instructive attachment, you just can't get out from anyone. It's your parent you may detest transiently. But then when your life is made, you owe to them. Just imagine when I was taking care of him with my other siblings this past 2 years, how invalid in terms of his inability to remember, his inability to walk straight, and his loss of memory periodically, his loss of bowel and bladder function, a man who really took care of himself just about 18 months ago. Just like we are born into this world, we are born disabled. These are the parents who helped us to walk, helped us to speak. They helped us to conduct ourselves in a society and behave and relate and make friends and all of those things. And they were there for us. So that was the pain. It was an incredible pain to see that when your parent exactly becomes powerless, just like when we're young kids. So this really was a wake-up call in the sense that you owe to your parents their sacrifice. We never imagine, many times we think it's our own attribute in life, it's our own hard work, it's our own success, and we were there, but all of us here never forget. No matter who our parents are, what their status was, what their status is at the end of the day, just remember, they helped us to crawl, to walk, to stand up, to read, to write, to eat, to relate, to nurture emotions, thoughts, and be good in this world. He was a quiet person, very sober, very solemn, never offered advice without asking. And the last interesting thing about him, I don't want to tell my age, but many of you know. So my father was living downstairs, I was upstairs. When I come home, and sometimes if I have to go for an evening event of some kind, I have to visit him and tell him, I'll not be home this evening. Then he used to ask, where are you going? I had to tell him, is it a restaurant, is it a friend, is it what? Then when I come back, he checks with the servant boy next day what time I did come. Now, he should be very quiet, correct, in the morning when I come and see him on my way out, Okay, what time did you come last night? So he looks at his watch. I said, I came at 12 or 12:30. No, you came at 2 o'clock. As if hell broke loose, and there was a sarcastic smile on his face. So which means to say that somebody said that he was a control freak. He was absolutely in control. He was caring on one hand, but he wanted to know what the heck was happening in my life. Was I safe? Who was I interacting with? Who am I going out with? What am I doing at the end of the day? That was his concern. And the other thing, some days he used to tell me, you work very hard in life now, you should take it easy. And then the most interesting part is, if I go an hour late, when he sees me downstairs, what happened today? Why are you not going? You're not going to hospital today? And by chance, if I come an hour early, what happened? You came early today. So even, I think, a parent is always a parent, no matter how old you are at the end of the day. It was irritating sometimes, but nevertheless, I found it very amusing. And more than amusing, I found it, I was so blessed to have someone caring for me, someone asking about my whereabouts, someone interested in me at the end of the day. Such was the beauty of this. And many of them spoke about the 10 grandchildren, and he has 5 great-grandchildren. And he was, truly blessed, I believe, with a good life. And one last thing, I don't think so I will find in my living times anyone who has worked more harder than my father. Truly, 365 days, 18 hours a day, until he retired. I saw this for 45 years of my life. I used to say this in the US to many of my American friends. When somebody says worked hard, without affronting somebody, hurting anybody's sensitivities or sensibilities, I used to say that, listen, my father probably is, he should be in the Guinness Book of Records. There was no Diwali, There was no Dashara, there was no Ramzan, there was no anything. He worked exactly 365 days a year. Even on a holiday, he used to go to his construction site, render his job, whatever he needs to do. He was a professional. He was a true professional who has least interaction with anyone, did his work immaculately, and made sure that he will never earn a bad name, whatever he did in his life. I think with these words, I thank you all for being here. I think there's a great lunch waiting. I request you all kindly. This is a huge, long hallway, and you can dine inside and outside. Please have your meal with us, and thanks once again so kindly for every one of you, to take time from your very busy schedule on a working day and to be with us, and it will be memorable. Thank you all.